right back on the bandwagon of training with Tim and Andrew Craig and those guys, and trying to get them prepared and helping me, evolve as a fighter as well. But as far as like the fan press and all that stuff, that was kind of a shock a little bit. Obviously, people constantly contacting you and people come out of the woodworks. But Dana White said it good before we left the house. Dana sat us down and said, before you came on this show, remember who your friends and your family were, and just keep them. Don't worry about all the new people coming into your life. Usually maybe for something negative or for money, or they want some fame as well. So, just staying pretty level-headed, and nothing really changed in my life. I'm not, live in the same house I lived in, doing same thing I do, just training harder and training with better people. Yeah, coming out of the house, I had a bit of like a social shock almost. I came back, and I have a large circle of friends and a big family. So coming back into the city was definitely, it took some adjusting. I was used to being in a hostile situation where I was constantly sizing people up or being sized up. Waiting to fight on 1 day notice. So it was definitely a hostile environment in the house, and coming back into the real world, being able to use a phone and a computer and people being nice to you and showing you affection and whatnot was definitely took some getting used to. So I definitely had some readjusting to do, and then after that, everything went back to normal.
Okay. And a question for Matt, if I could. Can you tell me if, in fact, or did ask you to undergo VADA testing, and if so, when that happened?
Yeah, Roy asked me, I don't remember what day it was. He tweeted it. He tweeted the day he sent it, so I don't remember what day that was. It was probably like, probably a week and a half, maybe something like that ago, maybe 10 days ago.
And did you, in fact, say no?
No, I just never, I had a bunch of other things going on, and just felt like it was a little bit of a distraction, so I didn't want to deal with it.
Is that something that you're opposed to in general, or was it just the circumstances that happened this time around?
No, I have no problem with being drug tested. I mean, people can come drug test me whenever they want. It was just something I felt like it was, I know I got cut a couple weeks out of my training camp, so I had to make sure I was still pretty active. I was so interested in getting my blinders put on, I even cut my Twitter off. Like, I canceled my Twitter. So I told little, like, I wanted any kind of distractions. I needed to make sure that since I was coming on, somewhat short notice, cutting a couple weeks out of my camp and training for a 5-round fight, this is something I want to make sure I just didn't have any extracurricular stuff going on that could distract me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just to remind everyone, that is *1 if you would like to ask a question. Next, we'll go to Corey Smith with MMANonstop.com.
Hi, guys. My question is for Roy. What were the biggest differences between coaching on The Ultimate Fighter and being on The Ultimate Fighter? And also, was there anybody that you wanted to bring in as a guest coach that maybe, due to scheduling conflict or something like that, wasn't able to come?
Yeah, the difference between coaching and actually being on The Ultimate Fighter, you have one goal. When you're on The Ultimate Fighter as a contestant, your one goal is to strictly win. And as a coach, trying to get 8 guys to win. And it's really up to them to choose which one actually wants to, who wants it more. And you can't, give them the heart and the desire to, go out there and do it versus like the other way around when you're just a contestant. You don't have to depend on yourself to get the job done. And as in bringing coaches and, stuff like that, extra. And there's, I wanted to bring, Mo Lawal in. And then I was going to actually bring Chael in. Chael actually was, actually going to make it, but then that was when that John Jones cancellation fight with Dan Henderson. And Chael was going to come in, but then he had to prepare for, the fight. And then, there's a couple other ones that just had some scheduling conflicts. So, it would have been like the best DVD set ever.
it would have been. All right, thanks so much, Roy.
The next question will come from Philip Palmajar with RealCombatMedia.com.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. My question is mainly edged towards Roy Nelson. How much in your preparation and your training camp did you have to change over to accommodate the new opponent? And did that change the dynamic of the end of the Ultimate Fighter, knowing that you weren't going to actually be facing Shane Carwin?
No, I figured Shane was going to probably pull out of the fight. This is not the first time he's done it, so I just didn't know when or where that was going to actually happen. But for the preparation of, fighting Matt versus Shane, there's definitely two different opponents. One guy is southpaw, one guy's orthodox. Matt's definitely training, I think, at a better camp than Shane Carwin. So I think I'm giving him the fight version of Alistair Overeem from Matt Mitrione.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much for your time.
And the next question will come from Andy Cotterill with MMA.ca.
Hi, this question is, I've actually got a few questions for Mike Ricci. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good, Andy. How you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Coming from TriStar, a gym that's got very strong connections, very strong ties with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, it seems they do quite well in getting their fighters chances to fight in the UFC. Throughout the whole process of the Ultimate Fighter, watching you on TV and in a few interviews afterwards, you've been pretty vocal about how little you enjoyed your experience actually inside the house. Not necessarily talking about the training, but being in the house. In retrospect, are you happy you went through the whole process? And if yes, would that answer have been different if you had not made the finals?
Well, obviously, I didn't like the experience regardless, win or lose. So obviously winning and having the outcome that I had made it a little easier to deal with and cope with. I felt like I was, I at least gained something from what I went through, But I have been vocal about me not enjoying the situation there, and I really did, and I stand by that comment. I didn't enjoy it one bit.
Why don't you talk a little bit about Colton and how you see him as a final?
Sorry, say that again. How do you see him as what?
Talk about Colton and how you see him as an opponent and how you see that fight going.
Well, that's the beauty of TUF, right? You get to watch your opponent fight live multiple times, especially if you're obviously in the finale, you get to see your opponent fight 4 times. And Colton, I don't think he even lost a round in TUF, so he's definitely a good fighter. He's well-rounded. He's in good shape. So I've done the best I can to prepare for him. Obviously, I haven't taken him lightly. I've been able to watch him fight, and I know he's a good fighter. So I've done what I had to do to prepare for our altercation next Saturday.
Great. I've got one last question for you, Mike. After your first fight against Colton, are you intending to go back to the lightweight class?
Yeah, when I left the house, it was a decision I had to make whether or not I was going to put on weight and, a good solid 15 or 20 pounds and stay in the welterweight division, or keep my weight and go back down to 55. So I decided I like the way I feel walking around, at 178, 179, and I'm going to go back down to lightweight when this is over.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
And just another reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 at this time. And next we'll hear from Corey Smith with MMAnonstop.com.
Hi guys, this question is for Colton and for Mike. In regards to the coaches that were on the show, which coach were you guys most surprised, that you learned the most from? Obviously everybody learned stuff from Royce Gracie, but was there a coach that maybe you were surprised how much you learned from?
Yeah, I'll take that. The Scrap Pack and Rashad Evans, as a whole, all of them, they really helped me a lot with my game. Jake Shields has a very pressure-oriented game. So feeling Jake and his pressure, that's something I want to emulate. People say he lays on people, whatever, they can say what they want, but until they've been underneath Jake Shields and feel the pressure that he brings down, it's pretty amazing. And as far as Rashad Evans goes, I was very, very impressed with his coaching abilities, and he did very well, coaching us on cage work and striking from the clinch, and that was definitely an eye opener for me and something to put in my tool bag. So ultimately, got to thank Big Country for bringing in the scrap pack and Rashad Evans.
I have to say that we didn't really bring anybody in. We kept the same team throughout the season. We had Nate Marquardt, Pat Barry, Lisa Bowling, Trevor Whitman, and Shane Carlin, obviously. We had Elliot Marshall as well for jiu-jitsu, and all these guys were just constantly giving us, solid information and great advice throughout the entire show. And I learned a lot more than I expected. Coming from the camp that I come from with such high-level coaches and training partners, I didn't think that I would learn as much as I did, but I did learn quite a bit over there.
Okay, great, guys. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And there are no further questions in queue. I'll take this time to turn the call back to Dave Schaller for any additional or closing remarks.
Danielle, thank you, and also want to say thanks to Roy Nelson, Matt Mitrione, Mike Ricci, and Colton Smith for joining today's call. Before we wrap things up, I do just want to go through the Fight Week schedule in Las Vegas today. On Thursday, we will have our Ultimate Fighter Finale open workouts. They are closed to the public. Again, they are closed to the public. It's at the Hard Rock Hotel in the Montreux Room. Roy Nelson, Matt Mitrione, Shane Del Rosario, Pat Barry, and both of the TUF finalists will be on and available from 12 to 2:30. 12 to 1 is the media check-in, and workouts kick off at 1, concluding at 2:30. On Friday, December 14th, a change from the usual run of play. Weigh-ins are actually at 2 o'clock Pacific time, 2 p.m. Pacific time at the Hard Rock. Those are free and open to the public. The weigh-ins will be in the joint, and that leads us into Saturday, which is obviously a big one for us. It will be on live on FX at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget, Friday night on FX, Soteropoulos versus Pearson, the TUF Smashes finale. That's on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again to the guys. We'll see everybody in Las Vegas later this week. Have a great day, and appreciate you joining the call.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's call. Thank you again.
Rise up, rise up.